Hello, guys. This is Jack Lader. I'm an accredited genealogy professional specializing in the South Central region of the United States, and I want to give you some awesome value today. We're going to talk about this is going to be a two-part series: how to solve problems with newspapers, particularly with ChroniclingAmerica.com and newspapers.com. The first part of this, part one is going to be Chronicling America, and the second part is going to be newspapers.com. But I'm also going to give you access to about 500, more than 500, almost 600 digital newspapers around the country where you can solve problems. In other words, find ancestors in ways that you'll never find, that you won't find in other sources like census records and others. So newspapers are really invaluable. It's exciting. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to invite you to open up another screen. And just a second here. So begin. Okay. So just say, let me get things adjusted here. Okay, so start from the beginning. Okay, so cool stuff. I love newspapers. They're just absolutely awesome. So like I said, this is going to be the first part is how to deal with Chronicling America. A lot of people get a little bit intimidated by it, especially when they first look at and use Chronicling America. But I'm going to take the mystery out of it and show you some awesome things that you can do with Chronicling America. Now, first of all, what's the game plan today in this short video? First of all, we're going to show you how to easily access over 500 digital newspapers within each of the 50 states. How to solve problems in Chronicling America is this part right here. And also how to find isolated photos, including ancestors in ChroniclingAmerica.gov. And the thing is that I have probably 500 photographs, well, more than that. I said 500, but I meant 2,000. 500 is the number of sites that I'm going to give you access to, but I have probably over 2,000 family photographs, and most of them were before about 1920. But I'm going to show you how to find some of these photos within newspapers. Now, next time in part two, I'm going to show you how to solve difficult problems in newspapers.com and how to solve difficult connections with obituaries and news articles in part two. A little bit in part one, but mostly part two. So you got to check this out. Last month, I created a list of about 550 digital newspapers in all of the 50 United States. So if you'll send me an email at my email address here, jlater54@gmail.com, I'll send you a copy. It took me a long time to put this thing together. It's organized by state. As you probably know, a lot of the online digital newspapers are not in Chronicling America and newspapers.com. I mean, those are the two biggest sites, but a lot of them are within the individual states. So this will allow you to like drill down by state and allow you to find the newspaper that you might be looking for your ancestor. So yeah, you need to get this this email. So shoot me an email, let me know. Okay, and I'll send that along to you. And you got to check this out. You never know what you run into in a newspaper. Check out this obituary. Let's see, Stephen Merrill, 31. Stephen Merrill, 31 years old, passed away February 12th, 2015, due to an uppercut from Batman. I don't know how who decided to write it that way, but it's funny. Anyway, check this out. Here's another one. Jack enjoyed cars and Indy car racing and was a great movie trivia buff. He was a veteran of the U.S. Navy, serving from 69 to 73. Funeral services and interment will be held privately. In lieu of flowers and in his honor, go see the new James Bond movie. You never know what you run across, right? Oh, you got to see this from 1878. Laughed herself to death. A woman in Newport laughed and laughed at her husband last Friday. And before she could recover her composure, she was dead as Lot's wife, Joshua. And here's my personal favorite. And I don't have the whole thing here, but this is part of it. He respectfully requests 6 Cleveland Brown pallbearers so the Browns can let him down just one last time. Anyway, you never know what you run across in an obituary. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to solve problems in Chronicling America. So let's take the mystery out of it and utilize it as much as you possibly can. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is open up a second window as I go through this, and feel free to stop this video anytime you want to find a page or go back to a page. That's the cool thing with YouTube, is you could do that. So I would recommend that you do that. Let's open up a screen right now and go to ChroniclingAmerica.loc.gov. So please go ahead and do that right now. Okay, when you get there, this will be your home page, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on advanced search. Now, obviously, you can use the main bar here and you can find stuff, but your best chances of finding what you need are going to be within advanced search. So I'm going to do a search within this. So the question is that sometimes you need to find a single newspaper, or maybe try to find a newspaper within a certain location. How can you do that? Well, you can do that within the advanced search. So I'm going to go ahead and click on advanced search right here. So I'm looking for a great uncle who was announced as a state labor commissioner from Missouri in 1901. So I'm going to go ahead and select a state right here and a year range. And note this date range here. This is where you could actually put exact months and days within this date range, but I'm just going to select within the 2 years here. And the name is William Anderson. So we know from my own family that he was this commissioner in St. Louis, Missouri, in around 1901 or 1902. So I'm going to go ahead and click search right over here, and let's see what happens. Click search. And we kind of lucked out here. He ends up being on the second page. Now, all these red highlighted areas, this is where you're going to find a match for William Anderson. Now, I wanted to note something here. Let me go back here. On the previous page, you could use any one of these search criteria, but I like to use the one on the right because if I'm looking for a name, I want those 2 names to show up simultaneously, one next to each other. So that's why I use the phrase field here. Otherwise, if you use one of the other 2, you might have a William in one part of the page, Anderson in another part of the page, and not together. So I put them together in phrase. So click here, search, and there he is. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this newspaper right here, and there he is. Of course, we could, there he is. And this is where I really lucked out. I got to get a drink of water here. Obviously, I lucked out because there's a photograph. And of the 2,000 photographs that I have, this is the only photo that I have of William Anderson. And here he is. Click this plus sign here, make it bigger. So if you look through here, you can see there's some genealogical information. I see where he lived. This is his address right here, and some other stuff that's kind of interesting. But if you go to the bottom, this is the citation that you could use. I would recommend that you put a page number in here and maybe even a volume number, but at least a page number. But at least you got most of a citation that you could use. And guys, when you use, let's say Ancestry.com or Family Search, please make sure to include a citation so that people could find exactly where your newspaper is. I know from experience, it's a little bit frustrating when you actually find a really cool newspaper on one of these sites and they don't have a citation and you have to guess where they got the newspaper from. So don't leave people guessing. Use the citation. Okay, let's check out another way. So a second way of finding William Anderson in Chronicling America is by selecting by newspaper. Now let's suppose that you already, maybe you have a resource or an index that shows which newspaper he might have been in. excuse me. So in this case, you can select newspaper. Now, guys, I'll tell you right now, this search box here for newspapers is really long. So you have to scroll down to it. It's in alphabetical order, but you have to scroll down, kind of carefully because you'll miss it quickly. I'm going to put a date range in here. This time I'll use the second method because let's suppose you have an index like an obituary index that tells you exactly when he died. You can put a date range in here within a month and really narrow down your search. Well, I did that and I put William Anderson, click on search, and here he is again. And it narrowed it down to even 2 newspapers in 1902. So I click on that. Click on the newspaper right here, click, and you'd have the same image that you saw previously up here. Anyway, so I want to show you something that will be really beneficial. As you probably know, sometimes you'll put a word in the search box and you're not successful. Well, what if we can't do a word search for an ancestor, but you know the death date? Maybe that came from an index or something on Ancestry.com, or maybe you went to another kind of obituary index in the state. If you're not able to find your ancestor in a newspaper, the index may be flawed or missing. For example, the optical character recognition, the OCR, is not perfect. And I'll show you an example. So the computer algorithms, the OCR, has an awesome way of looking at the text in a newspaper and indexing all of the words, but it's not perfect. Here's an example in 1884 newspaper. Several words on this page were incorrectly indexed. The original may have been hard to read or the microfilm might have been obscured. The solution is to use the browsing feature of Chronicling America or any other newspaper. So some of them aren't indexed at all, but even the ones that are indexed, it's going to come up with, this nonsense stuff. So you have to use the browsing feature. Now, this is a cool feature. Let's do an example right here. I'm going to browse for the obituary of a lady by the name of Anne Eliza Smith, who died May 10th, 1854 in Glasgow, Missouri. So I go ahead and this time I'm going to click all digital newspapers, the second one. In a while, I'm going to show you how to use this directory on the right, but for right now, let's use all digital newspapers. And then click go. So I'm going to select Missouri and click go. Now let's see what happens here. And what you get is all of the newspapers in Missouri. And we go alphabetical here. Now, this list is longer than that, but the one I need is right here in Glasgow Weekly Times. See, she died in 10 May 1854 in Glasgow, Missouri. So I looked it up on Wikipedia, and I noticed that Glasgow is a really small town. In fact, its population went down over the years. So I'm taking a guess that this Glasgow Weekly Times is the one that I need. Well, she died in 54, so I'm selecting the second one right here. 1848 to 61. Click on the browse issues. And again, like I said, guys, if you're following along with me, you can stop this at any time. I know I'm going kind of quick on this, so feel free to stop the video and find it on your own window in that spare window that you had open. So I'm going to select the year of Eliza's death, which is 1854. And it gives you all of the months here of the year. Now, I know that she died in 10 May 1854, so I'm going to select 10/18. And I realize she could have been in May 11th, 18th, or 25th, but let's just select the 18th. Click on it right here on the 18th, and this is what you get. This is the May 18th issue. So Anne was found. I just went through the pages, and luckily I found her on the second page. So I'm going to click here, and it says died. So these are the deaths. I'm going to click the plus sign to expand this. Click plus, and there she is. And there's a ton of genealogical information here. It's a gold mine. It's awesome. It says when she was born, who her parents are. Isn't that awesome? Who her husband is, and when they got married, 1838, and what church she belonged to. I mean, this is awesome information, powerful information. And this was found without using any OCR. I didn't do a name search on this. In fact, it didn't even show up. There, like I said, there wasn't any OCR or any. I just wasn't able to find her using her name. So anyway, that's how you use the digital. I'm sorry, the browsing feature of Chronicling America. Now, I'm going to show you how to use this U.S. newspaper directory and how it can be really beneficial for you. This is the part that a lot of people get really hung up on. Just remember, Chronicling America is a collaboration between the National Endowment of the Humanities and Library of Congress. And so it's their job to let people know where everything is, including these newspapers. So that's the purpose of this, is to show you the location of the papers. And a lot of them are within Chronicling America, but some of them are not. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here. And this is what you get. Now, there's a slow way of doing this and a fast way. The slow way is to go through all these newspaper titles here. I mean, you could do that, but you can see there's 157,000 newspapers that are listed here. So I'm going to do it the fast way, and I'm just going to select Missouri over here on state, county, and Fulton. I'm looking for a specific newspaper that an obituary in a Fulton, Callaway County, Missouri newspaper. Date range is 1870 to 1880 for a person that I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and click on search. And so I'm going to select this one. I happen to have an obituary index at ancestry.com that directed me to this Fulton paper. I have several ancestors that are from this county, and I do have an obituary that led me exactly to this newspaper. So I'm going to click on this Fulton Telegraph right here. So click. So if you look at this, this is the purpose of the directory, is that it tells you a history of the newspaper and where the issues are found. Now, incidentally, if this paper were digitized on Chronicling America, you would actually see an image right here on the right in this space with a detailed description of the history of that newspaper. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the bottom left-hand portion where it says this shows who has the newspaper. It says holdings. view complete holdings information. So click right there. And this shows you who has the newspaper. Now, the thing is that if you look through here, if a digital copy exists from one of these libraries, you'll need to contact or browse their website. Now, here's the deal. Chronicling America will show you who has the microfilms and who has the original papers, but they don't give you a link and they don't tell you who has the digital copies. And there's a reason for that. And this is a similar situation. The reason for that is that these web addresses for the digital papers change from time to time. So let's look at this example. Okay, here's an example. This is a similar scenario with a lot of other newspapers. The State Historical Society of Missouri, this is it right here at the top left, has the digital newspapers, but Chronicling America doesn't tell you who has the copies. Chronicling America usually shows you who has the originals and the microfilms, but not the digital copies, as I said before. Also, the location of the digital copies changes from time to time. See, what you could do is in Google, you could often type in the name of the newspaper followed by the word archives or digital archives, and you could find it, find the digital copy. For example, the State Historical Society of Missouri, which I'm referring to here on the left, changed all of the digital newspaper URLs to new URLs in newspapers.com. So for this newspaper, the State Historical Society of Missouri, they have the digital copies, but the directory doesn't tell you that. You just have to contact them yourself or just go to their website and you'll find that they have digitized the newspapers. They're searched either through the society's website or through newspapers.com. So they are available. But like I said, you really should go to the website of, wherever it's held, like the State Historical Society of Missouri in this case, and then you'll find out that they do have the digital papers on their site. So at least this gives you a clue where to look. So that's the value of it. Now, if Chronicling America has a digital copy of the newspaper, the About page would look like this. So like I said, it would have a copy of probably the front page and a real awesome history of the paper below it. So here's the next page of the same one. So anyway, that's how you do that. So that's how you use that directory. It's really, really beneficial. So if you just get stuck and just don't know what to do and you can't find the person that you're looking for in a regular search in Chronicling America, go to that directory. Now, here's a question for you. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could find a single image of an ancestor in a newspaper, or maybe the kind of car that he or she drove at the turn of the century? You could do both. You could do both of those through the newspaper navigator in Chronicling America. I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but it's a pretty new feature within the last couple of years, and they're still building on it. So what you do is from the homepage again in ChroniclingAmerica.gov, .loc.gov, go to the bottom left-hand side of the page where it says Newspaper Navigator. So click on it with me. And I want to look for a single photograph of that William Anderson that I talked about before in about 1903. So I go ahead and put Missouri here, start date, end date, and his name. Now, by the way, don't forget to watch this video. It's like a 15-minute video, very much worth watching, from the innovator whose name is Benjamin Charles German Lee. Check it out because he's going to show you exactly how you can find photographs, including people, in Chronicling America. It's awesome. Watch this. So I put his name in, state, date, and this is what I get. Right away, just the image. And there he is. You saw this before. So what you do is you hover over the photo and select the word info. I can't do this in this PowerPoint, but when you hover over it, the word info will pop up. So I'm going to click on the picture and you get this page. So you have the option of just downloading the image onto your computer. You can put that in your pedigree chart, or you can just click on to view full issue. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to download the image, and there it is, right there. Now check this out. This proves a relationship by just using this paper, this announcement of him being appointed as a state labor commissioner. So look right here at the bottom. I have it in red underlined. His address, it says he's married, 37 years old, lives at 2211 Montgomery Street. And ironically enough, that's the same address of his mother-in-law right here. His mother-in-law is this Melvina Clifton, and she shows up, and it says that the funeral is going to be held at her son-in-law, William Anderson, named by name, same person, at 2211 Montgomery Street. And so they matched up. This is a proof of the relationship right here. So it's the correct William Anderson. Okay, now, here's another way you could use the newspaper navigator in Chronicling America. This is kind of cool. What if you're creating a presentation of some kind and you just want some stuff to flower it up? And so what about the kind of car that William may have driven? Now, I don't know what kind of car he drove, but you could probably imagine what he could have driven. So let's just check it out. It's kind of fun. So put 1900 in here to 1924 because he died in 1924. So let's just check it out. Put a keyword in here like automobile, and then click on the search button right here. Click. And then you get all these choices of coming up. Now, obviously, you're going to want to pick the ones that look closest to a car that would have existed during that time. So I'm going to just click on several of these automobiles. And when you click on them, this allows these exact pictures to go in a collection. So I'm going to select these. It's the ones that look most like a car that would have existed between 1900 and 1924. This looks pretty good here. This one at the bottom right looks good. Maybe this one over here might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's pretty good. Oh, the one on the bottom right is another one. So we'll click. And when you select my collections at the top, let's do that. So it takes all of these photos and puts them in a collection, and there they are. Here's just an example. Now we're not done. We're going to find more that are just like this in an easier way. So we're going to click Train My Navigators. It's going to take these pictures and look for more that look like it. So I click on Train My AI Navigators. And you get all of these choices. And what you do is that to train the IA Navigator even better, you'll select the cars that look most like what he could have driven. And when you hover over the pictures, you'll get a plus or a minus sign. The ones that are plus, they're going to go in this top area here. And the ones that are minus that don't look like this tractor over here on the right, when you hover over the picture, you're going to get the plus or the minus. And I would select minus, and they would go at the bottom. So using that information, the pluses and the minuses, they'll go into your collection also. So here they are already in the pluses and minuses. So you click on train my navigators again, and you have a chance of selecting more and more to make it more and more narrowed down. Well, eventually you keep doing that, it's going to be more exact, and you just click on my collection, and there they are. Check it out. Now, when you click on the image, let's say I kind of like this car on the right. he may have driven something like this. So we'll click the one on the right. And here is the newspaper that has it right here. And it shows you the name of the newspaper, The Sun, in May 17th, 1914. So here's the car that we selected. Let's go ahead and click on it. And there it is. Isn't that awesome? Here's the car that we selected for William Anderson. Hope he likes it. I do. I think it's kind of cool. And here's the URL again at the bottom right, at the bottom of this page. So anyway, it's kind of fun to do this. Just a new feature added in Chronicling America. So guys, that is the end of my presentation. So again, shoot me an email at jlater54@gmail.com. I'll send you that the page of the, those 580 some newspapers that are right here, and I'll be happy to do that for you. Feel free to leave some comments, and guys, in part 2, we're gonna talk about how to find news articles and obituaries in newspapers.com. So until next time, I'll see you later. So go look for part 2. It's in my channel, and have a good day.